Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. This is Mr. Shakespeare again with you on the 27th of November, 2024, joined as usual by psychic medium and remote viewer Liz Cross. How you doing, Liz?
Oh, I'm doing well. Just wondering what you're doing with two-tier Keir here.
Well, he's had a few problems recently. He's
Really?
yeah, I mean he got to be the British Prime Minister because he was leader of the Labour Party. The Labour Party swept into power through to the apathy of Conservative voters, who were very fed up with the last 14 years of non-conservative and stayed out in their droves. They didn't vote. They didn't vote for anybody else, and they didn't vote for Labour. So the Labour voters came out and they won quite a big majority, but with the lowest ever turnout. Um,
Mm.
and since then, Starmer has done a very clever thing. He has become the most despised prime minister in history in the shortest possible time. Done well.
Oh my God, this is so funny. That was funny. I shouldn't laugh. I shouldn't laugh. We may have some Keir Starmer supporters listening to us, but I don't think so.
This man is a supreme, what I would call a supreme order taker. Okay, he takes his orders from the globalist, from WEF, wherever. He's definitely on an agenda, as we can see by what's happened since Labour's been in power. Now, there's something else that's happened as well. There's been a petition. And anybody in the UK can set a petition up for anything. You know, I wish footballs to be square. I wish milk to be green, whatever. You can set up a petition. And if you get more than 100,000 people who will sign your petition, this is the government, to the government has to, in Parliament, debate it.
Mm.
And recently there was a guy, I think he was a truck driver or something like that. He came up with the idea of a petition saying that he thinks we should have another general election because Keir Starmer and the Labour Party have not kept to the promises and not kept, basically not said, not done anything they said they were going to do. And the thing has gone viral. Within about 2 days, it had gone way past 100,000 signatures to over 2 million.
No.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. So let's just Google out and find out what the current level is.
I remember those petitions. While you're doing that, now they've come up with the London Metropolitan Police has a 425 million pound deficit, and they're cutting police officers and dispatchers, which was my old job. They're cutting civilian staff, they're closing stations, it's just a nightmare. Oh, and possibly you're gonna love this, Mr. Shakespeare. No more flying squad. Disband the flying squad. And if those of you don't know who the flying squad is, they're the high profile, they do the high profile robberies. So the Hatton Garden robberies, things like that. And also, they said they're going to disband the TSG. Well, those are or 75% reduction in TSG. Those are your riot police. So if things kick off, you get van loads of the TSG turning up at massive events that are causing, pub fights. If pub fights can be very serious, if you get 200 people fighting in a pub fight, things like that, disorder. And they're also closing or somewhat closing the forensics lab. So unless it's like a high profile or big time forensic problem, you're no longer going to get forensics on your burglaries, which are so commonplace in London. Anyway, I'm just shocked. I'm like, oh my God, why don't they spend the money on the police instead of all these other areas that they're spending the money on to keep people safe? So anyway, what is this here?
Well, this is the election petition where we're now over 2.6 million people have signed it.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, hold on. We
Wow.
finding? Yeah. Um, this guy here fucking was the guy that started it, and obviously it's gone viral. Because people in England and Britain, they're just fed up. They're not happy. The taxes have gone up. Everything that Labour have done, not really for the people. Well, that's not true. There are some people who have benefited immediately, the ones that they had to pay off very quickly, like the union members and things like that. That was done immediately. They got to power. Um, but they're certainly not on a populist route as per, say, the US is. So we've got a prime minister in Keir Starmer who is, as I said, is an order taker, not an order maker. And he's definitely on an agenda to do something with the UK, which is not good. There's nothing in his policies or anything that's good for the UK. And as we found out from the previous probe, he wants to keep giving money to Ukraine. So anyway, let's just grab this guy. I can't remember his name.
Okay. What would you like to know?
What made him start the petition against the Labour Party and Keir Starmer?
What made you start the petition against Keir Starmer? Something has to be done. We can't live like this. He's taking us down even lower. The economy will not survive. There's going to be a mass exodus of the UK, of the British people. And he thinks that by having this vote, it could maybe turn things around. Are you hopeful? He is feeling quite hopeful, actually. He is.
Okay. I mean, it guarantees that it'll have to be debated in Parliament, but it doesn't guarantee there'll be an election because the Labour Party have such a big majority, they're not going to vote for their own demise. So unless the court of public opinion changes, let's put him out to 30th of December, 30th of January next year.
Okay, so January 30th, 2025, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What would you like to know?
How many people now signed the petition? Does he know roughly?
Many people have now signed the petition. Uh, closer to 5 million.
Wow. Has it been debated in Parliament yet?
Has it been debated in? Yes, several times, and people are still signing. Keir Starmer is refusing to back down. He's refusing to step down. He's been asked to resign.
Right. So, well, this is the arrogant. I mean, he is following an agenda. So, he's definitely a placeholder been put there by the globalists, by the WEF, whoever. It doesn't matter. These people, they're not sovereigntists, they're globalists, they're communists. They want him to, and he's agreed to do an agenda, which of course is not for the good of the country, for the UK. So yes, I
No.
mean, 5 million people. See, ordinarily anybody with any what can I say? Anybody with any conscience or anything like that, if 5 million people are saying, look, we don't want you, you'd think you'd go, you'd think you'd do something, but of course they won't. These people don't go, you know?
But they
Um,
used to.
I
That's
know,
one thing about British politicians. Once they get a call to resign from, the vast from a vast amount of people, they usually do. They will step down,
right, but
unlike the US politicians.
this proves that these people don't care about what the electorate think or say. They're not interested in what the electorate, the people who vote for anybody. I mean, just the members of the public, they're not interested in what they say. 5 million people say that, I don't think there's been a bigger petition for anything, actually. This is a huge
Mhm.
petition. And it's double what it is now. And we're at the end of November. So by the end of January, things haven't got better because things have got worse. Um, let's grab Starmer and see what.
Okay. And you know that whole video we did on Jeremy Clarkson versus Keir Starmer, it's all come out into fruition.
Yeah.
It's all come out. We said he was going to go to war with the farmers, and my God, hasn't he just? I
Yeah.
mean, good grief.
Again, he's following an agenda. People have to understand that. This is not his idea, you know. He is the point, for the powers that be behind him, and they're telling him that they want this outcome, and they always have to have front people to run it. Starmer is an order taker, not an order maker. Everybody needs to understand this, you know. Okay, let's ask him. Let's put him out to the 30th of January 2025, please.
January 30th. Okay. January 30th, 2025, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What would you like to know?
Um, so the petition against him and the Labour government to have a new general election has now reached approximately 5 million people. What does he think about that?
What do you think about it? He doesn't care.
Right. Well, that's an honest answer. Well, it is, but I know he doesn't care. I mean, I know this. Um, so is there any amount of people? Sorry, does the petition have to get to any size where he would care?
Does the petition have to get into any size where he would care? No, the only thing he would care about is a vote of no confidence. Okay, so would you please explain to our global listeners what that means?
Okay, so a vote of no confidence would have to be tabled within the House. In other words, within the House of Commons. So that's a political maneuver. Um, The problem is that if you just stick to party lines, again, because Labour has such a large majority, even with the lowest vote turnout ever, because Tory voters didn't turn out, Labour have won so many seats that it would need a lot of Labour Party members to turn against their own government and their own leader. And, maybe you might find one or two, but I don't think there would be any chance of that happening en masse. So, I mean, yes, if there was a parliamentary procedure to get rid of him, it's a bit like impeachment in the US, then yes, he would have to listen to that and he'd have to deal with it. But I would imagine he could rely on the support of his MPs to block it. So the chances of getting him out are very, very, very slim. Um, you know, Politicians do not care about the voters after election day. They only pretend to care up to the election day. It's when you see the politicians at their best, when they're clamoring for votes. The day after, they don't care. So I don't see this happening at all. I don't see, unfortunately. I mean, he will literally just brush it off and just, we're doing what we have to do, and he'll talk his way around it. This guy, by the way, used to be in charge of the Crown Prosecution Service, the CPS. He's a lawyer by trade, and he was quite instrumental in not prosecuting Jimmy Savile for all things like that. So, this is the kind of guy we're dealing with.
People won't understand that. What can you advise who Jimmy Savile is? I mean, I know who he is.
Right,
Creep
Jimmy
factor.
Savile. Well, I mean, okay, so Jimmy Savile was a part-time nightclub bouncer, a boxer, a DJ, and everything. He worked his way up into, he had a program called Jim Will Fix It on the TV. He was a celebrity back in the day. But he actively interfered with. He basically provided. He was a little bit like an early version of who's that guy in the States that what's his name? What's the
No
guy?
idea.
No, Epstein.
Oh,
So he's a
Really?
little bit like Epstein, but without all the money. I mean, he didn't have, a flamboyant network, but he would try and coerce people and get people entrapped and things like that. I mean, the thought is that he actually worked for military intelligence, and that's why he was protected because, I mean, he was very bad with what he did with you know,
Children,
children, adult. I mean, yeah, I mean, he basically could,
vulnerable children, very vulnerable hospital,
yeah,
bedridden children. Terrible.
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, it was constantly reported and constantly suppressed. There were D notices, restriction notices issued against papers back in the 80s. So he was allowed. It was basically sanctioned by the establishment, the UK establishment. Yeah. So he could have been prosecuted many times, but this guy didn't prosecute him. So
Mm. Let's ask, why didn't you prosecute Jimmy Savile? He didn't see there was a solid case against him.
really, okay.
Hmm. Isn't
Uh,
that terrible? Even with all the evidence,
there
what
was
do you
so
think
there
that
was
Jimmy
so much
Savile?
evidence. There
There
were no
was.
when he basically had the run of where he was allowed to do what he wanted. So there were stories, at Leeds General Hospital when he was allowed to go there, and the nurses were crying their eyes out when they knew he was coming, because somebody was getting it, and literally,
Oh
he was a bad.
God, that's terrible.
Oh, I know.
And when you say getting it, you mean that.
I do exactly mean that. Yes, I'm afraid.
Oh
Yeah.
dear.
He was a very bad man, but he was doing work for the British intelligence services, the British. I mean, they were, you know, they
Do
obviously
we actually know that? Has that been proven?
when you say, did we actually know it? Some people knew it, and most people didn't. Some people knew it, yeah, at the time.
He's in spirit though, isn't he?
Now he's dead. Yeah, he's gone now. Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Let's ask. Let's ask. Were you military intelligence? He was. Oh my God.
there you go.
What on earth would he be doing? And all this and being
Compromising people. So, he was setting up arrangements. I mean, and then they would get blackmailed or, he was a fixer, which is why his television program later on was such a, Jim will fix it. I'll fix it for you. Well, he was a fixer. He did fix things, you know. Um, he fixed things.
Mm,
I mean, and I'm not saying this glibly, but I don't know exactly, but maybe some of the things were of use to the British government at the time. I don't know. I mean, we never, you know, I
they
mean,
were.
basically because of that, he was allowed to basically run riot and do things that everybody else would have been locked up for. That was his payoff. I mean, he was
That's bad.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, we're moving away. Anyway, he's long gone. But anyway, Starmer could have prosecuted him. He didn't. Starmer's now leader of the Labour Party. Starmer now has millions of people at the end of January 2025 that don't want him and the Labour Party. And he doesn't care, which is the truthful answer. He really doesn't care. So that means we're going to get more of the same, more problems. Why did he? Let's ask him this question. Why is he still, why was he upset at the peace deal that Trump and his administration have broken between the Ukrainian and the Russians? And why is he upset about it? And why did he want the war to carry on and keep funding Ukraine?
Why did you want to keep funding the Ukraine? It's this vendetta against Russia. It's they have to be stopped. If they get away with it this time, they'll do it again and again and again. He believes that they're under serious threat uh from Russia. He just said to me, they're only a hop, skip, and a jump away from being able to bomb the UK, and they have the means to do so.
Yeah, but they're not going to do it. Why does he think they will do it? Other than he's launching missiles against Russia, which is an act of war.
Why do you think that they'll be? they'll be able to do it. They will do it if they get given half the chance. He says his own personal thoughts, feelings, and opinions that they will do it.
But they've got the chance
That's
now.
how
They
he
can, they,
thinks.
no, why does he think that? Is he told to think that? Because they could do it at any time. They've got missiles, supersonic missiles that we cannot stop.
Um, what why do you think that? Because they could, if they wanted to do it,
They
they
could
would
have
do
done
it
it.
now. They could have done it already. No, they couldn't. Why? Because, he says because America would go in and obliterate them.
No. Right, okay.
So let's ask him this question. If you saying that, why would you send people, and what were they, 100 supporters of the Labor Party activists to
Yeah,
campaign against Trump in the US? He has to be stopped. Why? Because he knows, he just said to me, if Trump's in power, I have to take orders from him.
right.
That's what he just said.
And he'd rather take orders from Kamala Harris, would he?
Would you rather take orders from Kamala Harris? She's easier to work with. She's friendly. So he clearly, from that, what I'm getting is he has an agenda, whatever the agenda is, and he doesn't want anyone interfering. I can feel the force behind the agenda, and the agenda is going at full speed ahead, full throttle, whether anybody likes it or not. Trump will openly criticize him. Kamala and the Bidens, they would leave him alone, right?
Right.
And let him carry on. But because Trump, he perceives Trump as a threat, and because Trump will say, you know, look at what they're doing in the UK. And
Yeah.
he's scared that Trump will turn the citizens against him.
I think all the citizens are already against him, judging by the petition, which is now up to 5 million people.
Hmm. Will they ever get rid of Starmer? We have to wait to the next election. I think we're going to have to wait to the next election. I've got Churchill standing here and Thatcher. Are they going to get rid of him? No. He
No.
will refuse to go. The only way you can get rid of him is a vote of no confidence. But because, like you said, they have the majority, they're not going to do that.
No.
Because his own party would have to turn against him, wouldn't they?
That's right. And, they all want to be, they all want the jobs in power. So even if they don't agree with him half the time, I mean, I don't know whether they do or don't, but they're not going to lose their own jobs or anything. So, Labour tend to get one term in office, and then, because of the taxes and all the things that they do, it takes so many years to then fix all the problems, and we still swing, one side of the aisle to the other. It makes no difference. I mean, the problem
I
we've had
think.
is that our last conservative, we have not had a conservative government, a proper conservative government since Margaret Thatcher. The
Oh,
leaders
Lord.
of the Conservative Party since her have been soft. I mean, you'd call them rhinos almost in America. That they're soft. They're not conservative as we understand conservative. You know, Thatcher was the last one, and everybody since then has just been so wanting in one way or another. They've not been good.
Mm-mm. Yeah, a lot of people hate Thatcher. Um,
Well, yeah, yes, I know, but I understand that. But she changed England. I lived through it. She changed England for the better. Okay, she got rid of and I don't agree with some of the ways that she did it, but she almost had no choice. England in the 1970s was not a fun place to be. Okay, we had strikes all the time. Everybody was going on strike all the time. The Labour Party leadership under Callaghan could not control the unions, did not do anything to stop them. They couldn't. The unions had total power. The government had nothing going on for them. They couldn't, because it was their own people. They went on strike. The miners went on strike. The car people. I mean, everybody. The country came to a grinding halt. And bear in mind, they had just been through 90% taxes. So anybody with any money or sense left. You know, Thatcher
Mm.
changed all of that. And Thatcher changed it because she wasn't really a politician. She was a shopkeeper, if you like. She was a businesswoman. I mean, but she knew the things were wrong, and she really did have to put the hammer down on in certain areas, badly in certain, but she had no choice, you know. But England changed.
But he could argue the same. Starmer could argue the same. He could say, I have no choice. This is going to be difficult. I am going to be unpopular, but
I
given
know,
what,
but we don't want England going communist. We don't want build it all, you'll have nothing and be happy. We don't want build it back better and all of that rubbish. We don't want anything that the WEF is offering. Nobody wants any of that. That's all communist control. That's all what they want. We don't want it. We don't want build it back better. We want build it up now. Look what's happened. Look what's happened to the probes that we've just done recently and the ones yesterday, with the markets and everything else. Now Trump's going to be in power. They're all going up. America's going to go to the moon and we're going to end up at the bottom of the cesspit.
well, we did get that a
I
couple of
know we
years
did get
ago.
it. And
We
we've
did
got a
get
we've
that.
got we've got a probe on our list to do um best countries I know we've done this out in 2040, but somebody on our Discord has asked me to do one for I think either 25 or 26, which I think is a good idea.
We moved the UK out, all these countries out in 2029, and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
US recovered, and the UK was in the gutter.
Yeah.
We did that was years ago we did that.
Yeah, it was a couple of years back, but we might want to revisit that just on a shorter timeline.
Uh,
Maybe say by the end, run it till the end of 26 or something like that. Just do a shorter version of it. Because Starmer and his crew will still be in power. They'll still have the government.
in 2029?
No, 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 no. I didn't want to go out that far. I wanted to go out to the
Oh.
end of 26. Just a couple of years. Just a couple of years. It's all
Mm,
very well. I mean, destroying something to rebuild it, um, has so many connotations. So if you have, for example, a very old building which is falling down, crumbling, and it can't be fixed up anymore, then yeah, pull the building down and build something new. I mean, one of the things that if you go to Germany, for example, and some of the cities that were absolutely devastated by bombing, you know, um, and you look at some of the buildings there, they've got a lot of new infrastructure, relatively new, you know.
mm,
So, I mean, from that point of view, but the Germans didn't vote for it, did they? They didn't say, please come and bomb us so we can rebuild. They had to do it. The analogy I'm trying to use here is that we have got a broken society in the UK. But we don't want everything. I mean, look what they're doing with taxes to the farmers and everything else. We do not want everything taken down to zero so that they can build it up in their image where they own everything, they control everything, we own nothing, and they think we'll be happy. No, we won't. This is communism through every side door available. You know, it's always about, master and servant. It's always about power and control. We don't want that. Most people are not interested. They just want, enough money to get by and buy their own thing. Most people have very low expectations of everything, you know. But I'm hearing, on the news nowadays, there was a news item the other day of one of the billing companies, and every day they have to deal with their customers phoning up and saying, well, I don't know if I can put the heating on today. I don't know if I can boil water. I can't afford you know, I mean,
mm,
well, this is if you drive everybody into the ground, you are then totally subservient and reliant upon the government. That's what these people want.
mm.
And you'd have
No,
had that in
I've
America if
seen
you'd have
that.
carried on down if you'd have gone down the Harris route, You'd have had something along those lines. Fortunately, you did not do that. You voted somebody in who's a business who has a slogan of "Make America Great Again." Notice the slogan is not "Make the rest of the world great again." Trump cares about America first, and I have no problem with that. I wish we had a leader. Thatcher cared about the UK. She was deeply suspicious of the European Union, and rightly too, because the European Union is the USSR just with an E in front. You know, it's the old Soviet bloc republic. That's what they want.
I know what
Anyway,
I'm going to get you
I
for
better stop
Christmas.
ranting, otherwise they'll your subscribers will go. We're not here to listen to Mr. Shakespeare's ranting away. We're here for subject
I know, but people
privilege
don't
cross.
understand. I know what I'm going to get you for Christmas, Mr. Shakespeare.
Oh, that's sweet. What are you going to get me?
A soapbox. You can go stand at Speaker's Corner.
Oh, thank you. The thing is, you've got a lot of supporters. I mean, and they agree with they know what I'm saying is right. They say it. And
Oh
you've got
God.
obviously people who just don't want to listen to anything anybody says other than what you say. And that's fine. That's okay. I don't mind. You know.
Just know that Liz Cross did not say any of this.
Yeah, it's all Mr. Shakespeare. Yeah.
And I'll get your soapbox from Fortnum and Mason, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Did
Thank
you
you.
know that? And in fact, if you do an order from Fortnum and Mason, you get to pick a title. And did you know that
Wow.
they have lots of titles like Lord and Lady, Air Commodore, Brigadier, Captain, Colonel, Commander,
Right.
Dame, District
Right.
Judge, Group Captain, Mr. Shakespeare,
Good Captain Shakespeare. Yeah, okay.
Reverend Mother,
Probably won't go for that one. Hmm.
Sergeant, Sir, Sister, Squadron Leader. Did you know that they had all that?
I didn't, Liz. No, no.
Oh my God. Viscount and Wing Commander.
Right. These are all fictions because they're all titles. All titles are fictions. So yeah, but it's interesting, isn't it?
We should give you a title. We should, Sir Shakespeare,
I haven't been
maybe.
nice. Okay. All right. I don't want Mr. Photon getting upset if you start calling me Sir Shakespeare.
Lord Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this. Reverend Mother. You can order something for the Reverend Mother from Fortnum and
Well,
Mason.
can't I be President Shakespeare? How about that? Quite like
Well,
that.
that's not very British, is it? All right. Well, we're going to wrap this one up. Mr. Shakespeare is going to get down off his soapbox now and have a cup of tea.
All right.
All right. Thanks so much.